Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. This is your morning setups video. So it is about 7 to 8, and we are green. After getting red last night and looking like we're going to get some weakness in the markets, we are now green here as we head into the final hour and a half before the bell. So today it could be a little tricky, guys, and I'm going to tell you why. We had that, this ramp yesterday afternoon was algo generated. It ran buy stops. It got some big buyers, automatic buy programs to trigger in. And then, we saw it here, up here, right? We saw all the option flow suddenly stopped. And then we started showing those first couple put buyers coming in into the indexes and then right into the close. So where do we go from here? We look at this, everybody's going to start giving their opinions. People out there calling for a retest of the lows, which is possible. People out there saying, don't worry about it today, where risk is fine. We got to play the action here. And I'll tell you why. This type of candle, when you close on the dead lows, like we did yesterday, usually leads to a little bit of follow through. Now, we did get it in the overnight hours, right? So if we look at the ES, we can see that the ES did go lower overnight, right? We got our follow through down, for a decent amount here. And now we've come back in. So now we have a reversal candle on the ES. So that could be all we get. We did hold on the daily, the 8-day on the SPY by the skin of our teeth. And more importantly, we held the area that I said we had to right to it. I said this close of this candle right here was the important spot. That's where you want to see us hold if you want to stay, keep momentum here and just consolidate. So right now, nothing looks overly wrong with the markets. We look okay here. And honestly, I believe we can go either way here, or even better, maybe another day or two of consolidation before we take off. So, let's look around. The VIX yesterday also gave us clues that while it wasn't happy with what was going on late in the day, right? It never got back to the high, the highs. It came up to the high, but never really went higher as the market came down. And, it's not really trying to spike like it was earlier here. So it's holding in okay. And, then we have to start looking at some other things for clues. So oil overnight is doing a whole lot of nothing, up a little down, kind of waffling around in this area. Bitcoin still can't get going here. Coming back in again, looked like it was getting ready to go, came up, king, queen reversal candle, right? See it? King, queen, this one engulfed that one, and now we're bumming back down. So Bitcoin is not yet ready to give us a real bounce. This was a little bit of a head fake. And, keeping an eye on the bonds here, the bond yields, which came crashing down, are now bouncing back up a little bit here as we go into the open. And what's really going on here is right now Bullard's out there and he's talking down inflation, he's talking down interest rates, and that they don't have to raise 4 times. Bear one thing in mind. Bullard can say whatever he wants. He has no votes. He has no voting rights in the Fed right now. So he's just kind of out there, maybe trying to do influencing or maybe just trying to calm nerves. But he's out there doing some speaking this morning, which is probably helping a little bit here with the bond yields. So today, I think you have to be prepared to go either way with the action. You have to look at this market and say, what do I like? What do I don't like? So if we're going to be strong, I expect the banks to start taking control here and get ready to run into the next Fed meeting. And if they're going to come after anyone, it's going to be Bank of America, which they've been coming after nonstop. They love this name. Yesterday, they put some big call buying into C, right? We saw that huge call buying to C. This started to go and came back. And JP Morgan's best in breed. Right? So this is the one, these are the ones that you got to like the best here. And I do play Goldman Sachs a lot because it moves well, but it is lagging, right? It's definitely a laggard in the space and not acting as well. So you just got to be prepared that it may not move as much or may not move with the other banks like you'd want it to. I'm going to bring up Facebook. Yesterday we were looking to short, and it gave you this big, huge move, tons of call buying. By the way, they've been buying those May 180 calls like they're going out of style. They had another, 1,900 of them yesterday. Came right to the 50-day and basically stopped and reversed and came down weak, but it closed okay. So Facebook now, to me, is a little bit stronger. They saved it here. They've come in, decided they're going to play with it. I'm not saying if the markets don't sell off, you can't short it, but I'd be a little bit more careful just taking, weakness. A lot of call buying has gone into it now, a lot better action into it. In a non-FANG name, I want to look at Disney. I do not like the action of the chart, but they're buying calls on it every day lately. So as long as they're buying calls on it, I'm going to keep my eyes on it here. If it holds here and look for some type of reversal, maybe it can try to go. Right? So I'm trying to watch that one for some type of reversal action because they are constantly buying calls on this thing. They've been doing this now since last week. They started coming in on the week before. What other things? Let's go to Twitter. Why Twitter? Twitter woke up yesterday afternoon, right? Twitter woke up, big volume came into it, didn't sell off as bad as the other names did, held in, holding okay here. I would not be afraid to go to this name if it gets volume again today and take it for a ride and stay playing with this name. So Twitter continues to look like a good name here. It's been good to us at this point. What else do I like out there today from a long sport? Let's talk about Google. Oops. Google moved up, pushed into the gap, reversed, came down, and has a little bit of a topping candle here, but it's not a reversal, right? It just came in with the market, showed some weakness. This is a better entrance down here for potential gap fill. You get down here, this way, if it bounces against this gap a couple more times before it goes, you have a little bit of wiggle room. So I would keep an eye on Google if the market's strong. They liked this one yesterday. It had good volume for the name, and it seems like it's trying to get going again. If the markets are going to bounce and get strong and break this range, this would not be a name I would be afraid to go with here. I think this name is trying to rebuild. At the same time, if the markets really sell off, you could take this one short. So, we'll keep that in mind. You have to keep an eye on the names that have been best in breed. When I say that, I mean the Netflixes of this world, which just are hovering up here, flagging right at all-time highs, and looks like this thing still wants to go. If the markets are weak and Netflix is not selling off, that's probably not going to hold in. I would be careful shorting this name. Not that it can't come in, but temper your expectations on how far down this one can go. Boeing's another name that's just been incredibly, incredibly strong. Hello, Toss. There we go, Toss. Thank you. All right, here back on the 8-day today. Nothing wrong with what's going on here. It's just showing no power. We'll see if this one can get going now. We'll keep an eye on this. It's been a buy off the 8-day this whole way, right? So if you were buying it every dip to the 8-day since here, you're making money on it every day if you're just scalping it. Okay. Amazon's another name, been incredibly strong. Don't fight the tape on this. This thing looks like a rock solid rock star up here, acting well, right at a new all-time high yesterday. One of the narrowest range candles we've seen on this thing in a while, which is saying something because it did move what $20-something. So that's a narrow candle for it now, and that's why the IV is so jacked on this, because it's moving so much these days. All right, so keep an eye on names like this. Tesla, when it looks bad, they save it. When it looks good, it comes down. Nothing really wrong here other than it's just struggling. It's consolidating here. I have an eye on it. It does wake up. It's giving movement, but not giving us anything yet that I'm ready to sink my teeth into. Energy's still out of play, right? We can keep looking at this sector. The 8-day is resistance, right? 8-day here, couldn't get it. So, take a look at a chart, and sometimes you just look at the chart and see what happened. Rode the 8-day through this whole stretch, right? 8-day, 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 touched it. Every time it touched it, exploded off of it. Touched it, exploded. Touched it, didn't explode. Broke the 8-day. Couldn't get it, retested, failed. All way below it, overextended down. Bounced up, bounced to the 8-day fail, 8-day fail, 8-day fail, 8-day fail, 8-day fail, right? So right now you have a wedge forming to the downside, right? If you're a bear, you're watching this. Today's candle versus the 8-day. If it's one way or the other, this thing's going to break in one direction soon. It's getting to that point, so keep an eye on that. Maybe energy's a short here. Biotech has been a little bit stronger. Yesterday closed weak, but it's holding in here okay. And the names I want to keep an eye on there is this BMY. We pushed the stuff today, call buying again, came into its gap. So it lost some momentum, right? From this gap up to here, it lost that momentum. It's not showing me. The top of the gap is higher here for some reason. Let me go to a 1-year chart. There you go. No, it's still not showing to me. Did I lose it? Okay, here it is. So the top of your gap is all the way up here around 74.30, right? So go back to our daily chart here. So right now, if it holds the 8-day and you can start to see a reversal off of that, you try that long. And if it can break above 70, you're in the gap and maybe get some more gap fill. So BMY is a name you have to keep an eye on this space. AbbVie's another name they love. They keep buying calls on it. It's just kind of hanging out here as well. All right, let's pull this in here. Apple, let's talk about Apple. This move in Apple was incredible. I thought it got extended up here. I told you guys, and it's trying to go, but it's kind of just, it's up, down, it's weak, right? And it was one of the first names that showed weakness again. So you have this small gap right here. For all small gap, and you can see it and blow it up for you nice and big, right? So you have this gap from here, from where it opened to where it closed, right? It's not big, but it's a couple bucks, right? It's like $1.80 or $1.50, whatever it is. And you can try to fill it, right? But you have the 8-day in here, so you can see it might want to go in there and fill that gap. So keep an eye on it and see how it plays out at this point. So if its markets are weak, you can try to take Apple for a cute short to fill that gap and get out, right? Things to do today, guys. And I think that's what I want to kind of say to you guys. There's things to do today. Square has earnings coming. It tries to go and it gets weak. Got engulfing gain down yesterday. There's just no continuity to this name right now. Very tough to trade, but it is giving range, and it does look like it's trying to go. And this name likes to go one way and the other as well. OSTK, another name, just showing like this downtrend is just in control of it right now. Cannot break and hold above it. So, you know, we're waiting for that to happen. AMAT, you know, a little bit of an inside day yesterday after a big run. I did close out my calls on it for a very small loss after adding to it yesterday, and I will look to get back into this name at some point. It's one of my favorite names. Likewise, same thing with Micron. Micron continues to look good up here. Nice run off the bottom, right? I still in my common from down here, and I'm going to stick with it. And then I've been scalping it with common through this. I did not test. Today was the first day in 3 days or so I have not traded Micron. We'll keep an eye on it today to see if they come back to the chip makers. Talked about Twitter. What else have we not talked about here? Facebook, Apple. We talked about Square. Some other names. Cat, a name keeping an eye on, guys. Cat, it's just, you know, it's tight in here. You know, doesn't show any power right now. It's a little bit out of play, so I've been hesitant to go to it. But, you know, certainly a name that can wake back up anytime it wants. The pattern looks okay. X and Steels, right? This day was incredible. Another, it got continuation, but a topping candle. And now we got a little bit of a reversal candle down, but still holding this range. Let the 8-day catch up and see what happens with this thing. Watch the option flow, right? And I think that's the theme of today, guys. So if we're going to sell off, what can we do today? Well, you can go out there and you can grab some UVXY quickly. If we start to sell, you can quickly grab some UVXY and scalp this, because this can run a buck or two real fast. You grab a couple hundred shares on it. So you can do something like that, right? You can short a name like Tesla, or you know, that tends to move a lot on these things, or even Square tends to move volatile when it comes down. So what you need to do is, when you want to do this, is look at the moves. You can even take shorts on the indexes, right? This was a nice little short yesterday, right? This would have worked big in options. The IV is not juiced. You can play around with these things. Look at how names move. When the markets start coming in, look how they move. Look at Apple, right? Apple gave you a nice little $4 short, right? In what, 2 hours? Not even? It's perfect, right? You know, you can't ask for an hour. Sorry, an hour. Can't ask for a lot more than that. So when you see stuff like that, don't be afraid to try it. Don't be afraid to grab some stuff here and give them some shots. Some of you guys are, which is great. Yesterday afternoon, I was just out of it. I had a rough day yesterday with the markets. I made money, but it was just out of tune. And then I'm getting ready to do the video when the market started selling off. So I was caught a little bit off guard on that to get short yesterday. But at this point, take what you want. Keep an eye on the bonds, right? So TBT, TLT, ZN, you know, whatever you want. Keep an eye on the yields, because if these things start shooting up again, the market's probably going to react to it. And we'll go from there. So everybody, if you're in my service, I'll see you at 9:30 for the open. For you guys who aren't in my service, this is Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. Check me out. If you've had a rough couple weeks, I do offer mentoring. It might be a good time to sit down and talk to somebody about that. We did not get caught up in it here. We came in, we saw it coming into a certain point, saying be careful. When the SPY started to get weak and lost the 8-day, I was telling everybody to be careful. And we also saw that bottom tail on the SPY on this day and started buying into it, and we've been playing nicely ever since. So if you're struggling, you can come in, help you out with some mentorship, talk to you about what you're missing in trading, and maybe some things that'll help you see the market better. Or if you can join my service, where we call out all the option flow every day. We do the morning setups video, we do news, we do a nightly recap video, and a subscriber webinar every Thursday night, which is tonight. And I'm always trying to teach you guys throughout the day. So smartoptiontrading.com, links in the description. Join me. I hope everybody's doing well and have a good day.